the call. I was looking at the notes today, and today is our 125th Dash meeting. So been meeting a while. I'm hoping you can see my screen, guys.
Sure can.
Yeah, okay, great. So these were the minutes from last time. I actually managed to get those out a bit early. And so last week was big just because of MSCE failover handling. So that took quite a while to go through that PR and design, and lots of conversation around direction and the relationship between MSCE, VNet, VNI, ENI, all that. And then after that, Andy briefly updated us on the P4 meetings, and there's a upcoming workshop October 3rd. So last week we got a ton done though, because we had 5 issues or PRs completed, and we have quite a few in the in progress queue, but we are down 1. And then the follow-up tasks here, we wanted to talk today about the relationship here between the ENIs, VNets, VNIs, and I don't know if we're going to discuss the floating concept in SDN. So that's what happened last week. And what I thought was kind of interesting, let me pull it up here. So this is our project map of all the items to do in progress, etc. And last week we really didn't get to talk about the things that were done, but what's interesting is the Smart Switch Platform test plan document was done last week. So that one's actually finished and it's been merged, and they did add in it's up here in the in progress area. Let me find it. But they built in some added DPU platform test cases. So that one kind of seems to be a tail onto this one. So if you have a chance and want to look at this one, it's done. And then also this one was in the OCP repo, adding the Dashflow API for connection tracking. So Xiaofeng did that and Prince merged it. And so they added the API definitions for the Dashflow SCI API. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and we didn't get a chance to talk about that last week. So I guess we have Kelly in here and everyone. Okay, so did anyone have a PR they wanted to start with this week? Start out with that. Nope. Okay, so I'm wondering if Susutha is here, because we haven't had a chance to come back to P4 DPDK, and I know there's been a bit going on there. So Sutha.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we are working on the implementation for 128-bit support.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, we are working on bitwise operations support. We are trying to enable that. So possibly by next week, their PR will be raised in open source for enabling bitwise operation for 128-bit.
I'm sorry, you're talking pretty fast there. The PR might be open next week in open source?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Susutha about that? So Michael, just FYI, we were looking at P4 DPDK as well as BMV2 for that. Each of them have pros and cons, I guess, using them for the behavioral model. So we will check on that next week.
Yeah, cool.
Yep. And so it looks like items that are new, I noticed this last week we have, so we have Jimmy Zai and Riff, of course, working on the DP app implementation for VPP plugin here. And they are also working on these ones in the 600 area, you know, adding to BMV pipeline, just fine tuning attributes and reverse tunnel and things like that. And this one last week, the MSCE failover handling is still being worked on. Did we get clarity on, Michael, or I don't know if Riff's on the call, about the items from last week, about the relationship between VNet, VNI, ENI, all that?
So I think this was also Yeah, this was also mentioned in internal call that we had,
Mhm.
I think, on Monday, right? I think
Mhm.
this is something still we are closing with regards to whether we should put additional VNI definition or like VNI entry on the VNIC. So I think this is still being discussed internally.
Mhm. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And Arun, since we work with a lot of people from AMD on this, did you have an opinion or?
No, it's under discussion yet, right,
Mhm.
Christina? I think we have to.
Okay. Okay. And are we thinking maybe a floating NIP concept maybe in a month or so, Michael?
Yeah, we are working internally of basically some proposal on this, right? So definitely the community should expect that within like few weeks, maybe 2 weeks or so, we maybe will have some proposal and the problem statement about basically the floating concept, describe it, and basically this will be the idea about how to add hairpinning and be able to for having the packet to basically reach the DPU from like let's say external network, then be going to the inbound rules and then basically set up the flows and then hairpinning the packet inside the DPU and basically run it through the outbound flow. So it's kind of like a both direction flow processing without the underlying VM behind it. So basically that's the idea for the floating NIC, and we are I think right now working on the proposal. So potentially in like 2 weeks we can discuss this in the community to have some potential initial version. Yeah.
Yeah. Mircha, can you remind me the discussions we've had on hair painting before? I think that was when we had 2 ports or.
Yeah, I mean, it was mostly non-optimization, so we don't need underlay routing, and it was simplifying a lot by just sending the packet from wherever it came.
Yep. Yep. Okay, great, Michael. We'll look forward to that.
Yeah, I think for the I want to just add that for the herping, right? Because this will be in the format of the smart switch, right? There is always the idea that potentially the packet can be bounced out of NPU, but at the same point, this impacts bandwidth or this kind of stuff, right? But so I think it will, depending on the specific switch vendor implementation, we definitely would like to have the most optimized solution if possible. But yeah, that's one of the potential ways that it can be implemented kind of like a first. But if the hairpinning can be done inside the DPU, that's and the entire pipeline can be executed in kind of both direction, that's basically the preferred model, right? But at the same point, I think we will discuss this more in the community, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks when we have some proposal from our side. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thanks. And I that reminds me. So, and I didn't show you guys. This is all the huge area of the meeting notes. If you want to know exactly what happened, you can read through it here when I send it out, and then the YouTube videos. But I forgot. So next week, Azure Networking and Azure Core are having an event where people are flying in from all over the place, and so I'll probably have to push the Dash meeting, and actually it's this Thursday is behavioral model meeting, but I don't know if I'll be ready quite yet. But we'll have to push that out next week, so you'll probably see a cancellation come through for that. And also, so I guess I'll put it up for discussion. Did anyone else have a PR that you wanted to talk about before we moved on? I've just been monitoring these in progress, and there's work happening. It's just mostly Rift and Junhua or Jimmy requesting reviews back and forth, that kind of thing.
Yeah, Christina, I think I have additional questions. So last week, Riv was presenting, or Riv or someone from his team, right, was presenting.
This one.
Yes, and there was some discussion and questions about the flows and stuff like this, right? And I wonder, like, has everything been answered, or is there still some open item or follow up that we need to update in this document or the proposal that is here?
So it looks like they reviewed it last week and put a few updates. So let me see if he's able to join real quick.
Yeah, because I know it was presented, right? But the same it was not presented by Reeve.
Oh, you mean
I believe
Jimmy's?
there was, yeah, Jimmy's. Yeah, he presented this, but at the same one, I believe there was like some questions there was during the call, right? So I wonder if we actually finished fully the review, and or is there any like open items from this one?
There probably are, but I think it was Jimmy presented I thought it was the Express Route Gateway bypass, and then Riv, that
Yes.
was the week before. And then last week it was MSAE failover handling. So let me find that while we're talking, and because I believe it looks closed. So just give me a second here.
Yeah, because I believe there was some discussion whether I think the flows should be automatically created from the inbound packet versus some basically different way. And I think there was also some offline discussion afterwards. So I wonder if the community knows it is closed or not, and if there is like any.
Yeah, because the
any
Express
stuff that
Route
needs to be
Gateway
discussed.
bypass HLD is closed for sure.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, let me check. I'll check on that. Okay, and so I don't know if we'll be ready tomorrow, but I've been trying to different topic. I've been trying to integrate this gap analysis I've been working on here. It's we're back to behavioral model and P4 features and functions in P4 extensions, annotations, and BMV2 and PNA and PSA. I'm trying to tie all the pieces together and put it into, you know, some sort of roadmap or presentation, you know, like in this format here. So I'm working on this. I don't know if I'll be ready by tomorrow. So.
Okay. So one additional stuff that I want to mention here for the community, because like I'm following up internally with Prince, but our Prince and the other Prince, and
George.
And the question, yeah, Prince George, right? And the questions we had, because like he's Prince George is basically owning the entire model related to restart of the card or reboot of the card, right? And I was reviewing his basically
plan?
PR. Yeah, no, the test plan. His PR from the point of view of the smart switch reboot high level design. There is basically some PR that is on the, I believe, SONiC repo, right? Because
repo?
DPU will be, because DPU will be part of the SONiC, right? So there is, let me actually, if I can have the link, I will potentially share the link here. Hold on. So there is basically one PR about the basically reboot, and I'm not quite sure if this is fully closed or not. I'm just sending right now this pull request. But one thing that we notice is that like all the interactions there with regards to reboot interact directly with the card and the DPU. So basically assumes that DPU and whatever Linux is running inside the DPU and the DPU card is fully responsive, right? So I asked basically George to explicitly look at the situation in case the DPU is completely not responsive. Or in case the DPU is, I just send the link over the chat, right? Because like if the DPU is completely not responsive, because if the DPU is completely not responsive, then we need to have a way to basically hard power cycle a DPU without needing a power cycle entire switch, right? Which will be also handling the rest of the networking functionality, right? So Prince George told me that basically he will check with people who is working he working with, right? Is this supported in the hardware, or how this can be done in the hardware, and is it something that needs to be standardized here? Because if, for example, one DPU for some reason the OS will have some crash or a hang, right? In order to recover this, we don't want to reboot the entire switch. The idea was to basically just reboot the one card, but if the soft reboot doesn't work because we can't communicate with it, we should have a way to through PCI Express lanes or something like this, right? To power cycle the DPU without rebooting the switch, right? So that's something that I want to mention here, because I asked Prince George on this one, and he was not sure because the HLD actually specified more like soft reboot interaction.
Hi, Michael. I can answer from NVIDIA perspective. So the idea here that the SONiC on the switch will attempt to do the graceful shutdown of the DPU. So there is a mechanism to run the pre-shutdown from the switch on the DPU. And after that, we will do the reboot of the DPU using the platform API on the switch side, meaning that so we will attempt to shut down the software on the DPU. And after that, we do the reset of the DPU from the switch with the API. So if the pre-shutdown is failing for some reason, or the DPU is not accessible, we will fall back to the flow that will allow us to do the force reset of the DPU, and we will be able to recover it without needing to power cycle the entire switch or something like that.
Yeah, perfect. And this basically reset of the DPU does also require some part of the DPU functionality to still be operational, or this is like
no, but this will be done by the CPLD on the switch side. So we don't care about the DPU state. We always have a possibility to recover DPU and from any state that.
I see. And tell me one thing: is it? Do you know if this is NVIDIA specific in a way how you guys are building the switches, or this was actually standardized? Everyone will be.
I believe this is vendor specific. So
I see.
I'm not sure about the other vendors.
Yeah, because I think this is something that I would like to bring for the community, right? That we need to have a way to definitely force shutdown or forced reboot the card, kind of like a power cycle without the rebooting of an entire switch, right? So I'm not quite sure if Prince George will be trying to standardize it in some specific way, right? Or will rely on per vendor implementation, but basically like each vendor should have this capability in a switch that we can power cycle one single DPU without any little power cycle entire switch, right? Or hard reboot it. Because I noticed like his PR would probably
Michael, I can take that up with Prince George and see what we can do here. I think I also am agreeing to your point that we should be able to power cycle one DPU if one dies, right? But on the availability part, maybe let's be clear on the expectation. So if one DPU dies, we expect the HA state machine to kick in and all the traffic will be redirected to the standby case, right? So we don't expect this force shutdown DPU to come back to the same state as it was before. So it will be like a brand new kind of scenario, right? Where
it's brand new scenario, but Prince, basically the start I mean the thing is like we will try to most likely some automation will try to recover this DPU, right? Hard rebooting. And even though HA basically failed over to a different DPU, right? We'll still try to recover this DPU, and if it recovers, even with a clean state, we'll basically program the state and make sure it basically syncs back with the other DPU that right now is a backup but was acting as a primary, right? So so basically you will try to recover this DPU as much as possible, right? But the idea is like in order to try for us to recover, we definitely don't want to force all the other DPUs to reset, because it means that all the DPUs will need to fail over just to recover one DPU, right? So that's the
right.
main thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Got it. Yeah, I think that also we can call out so that it will be coming in a clean state and the controller will reprogram everything. Yeah.
I'll add that to track here later on after the call. So Michael, I made a comment in the SONiC PR. We'll see what happens. Okay. Thanks, Prince, for all that. Prince, I don't know if you were on the beginning of the call, but I did notice in addition to the Smart Switch platform test plan, we also now have DPU platform test cases in the SONiC repo. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
They show platform DPU, reload, device utility, things like that. So. All right, and we did get an update, Prince, from Sosutha working on P4 DPDK for behavioral model. So we had that also. And the rest of these we're just kind of tracking and checking on them each week. It seems to be a lot of Xiaofeng, Jimmy, Zai, and a riff work going on. Is there anything you wanted to bring up, Prince?
No, Krishna.
Okay. All right. Yeah, last week we covered this MSCE failover handling, and that one was a huge conversation, and we're clarifying some things out of that PR. So anyway, that's all I have this week, and I think I mentioned we'll probably have to cancel next week because of the Azure networking event. I'll go around, I guess. Do you guys have anything you want to bring up, NVIDIA, AMD, or the rest of Microsoft? Okay, then I'll stop the recording. And thank you for coming. Did we address everything?